And we're back, folks. I'm sorry. The commercial is supposed to be a break, but I have to do other things during the commercial break. Text people. Let me see what this. I'm looking for an answer here on this. Oh, okay. That's a good one. I like that one too. All right. I have to text message. I have to do all kinds of things. I have to find my fidget spinner that Sam gave me that she thought I lost, but I didn't lose it. Next Tuesday's an election all over the state. We will probably spend Monday discussing the election or the campaign of many areas and many things going on. I think what we'll do Monday is we'll go into all of the Fetch Your News areas from Dawson to Hiawassee to Blue Ridge and cover all of the races and just basically let you know who is on your ballot on Tuesday. I think we'll do that. You go and decide who you would like to be your next mayor, council member, or whatever it may be in your area. So we'll go through that. We'll have a complete list Monday. We'll work on that for you, and that'll be our show Monday. Now, put up Jerome Powell. This is Jerome Powell, okay? Now, Jerome Powell is about to be, he is the governor, is my understanding, of the Federal Reserve. Now, what we can't do this morning is we can't go into a full-blown Federal Reserve, segment. I do want to invite, and Rose, let's put this out, okay? Now, I don't want anybody that's wearing a tinfoil hat. I know I just got in so much damn trouble, all right? But I do want to invite out there for people to contact me that may know how to discuss the Federal Reserve, okay? Maybe former retired bankers, maybe people that are really know the Federal Reserve, how it works. Let's see, Herman Cain used to be the head of the Federal Reserve Bank in Chicago, which, they put Federal Reserve banks in several areas, sub-banks in several areas, because when they created the Federal Reserve, if it was in one place, the people would get the impression that the money was consolidated. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to paraphrase a lot of stuff, but when Woodrow Wilson put the Federal Reserve in place, okay, and the secret meeting at Jekyll Isle, okay, that's in Georgia, the secret meeting in Jekyll Isle, where as they traveled, everybody traveled to the meeting, they used different names, alias names, so they were not recognized. So they could go to this secret meeting in Jekyll Isle and create the Federal Reserve to control your money. I got to paraphrase a lot of things today, okay, because I just have to summarize, I guess, a lot of things because I don't have time to get into the depth of the Federal Reserve. I, for one, am not a fan of the Federal Reserve. I, for one, believe, and I want to leave his picture up because this is going to be the next chair of the Federal Reserve. I, for one, believe, I back Rand Paul. I believe we should audit the Fed. I'm not a gloom and doom, but since this is happening and it's not being talked about, this is the most boring story under the surface. Now, the tragedy last night of another terrorist attack, Allah Akbar or whatever, or yelled, and next thing you know, some guy runs 8 people over and kills them in New York City. That is just something terrible we have to deal with here. It is a way of life in America. How sad is that? Let me ask you this, and we're going to stay, this is the same, how shocked were you last night? How shocked are you? Were you shocked? Were you glued to the TV like 9/11? Or did you just see on your feed, your news feed, terrorist attack in New York, 8 dead? Okay. Seems like it was just how many in Vegas, a month ago. I mean, okay, 8. Did you stop and not go to the Halloween party last night? Did you discuss it at the Halloween? And I'm not going after you. I just want to say where we have gotten to. The new norm that we live in. We're desensitized of what surrounds us. So you have Paul Manafort, you have Hillary Clinton's surprise party, which we know, I told you yesterday, that was no surprise. Stay on this for a minute. That was no surprise. Hillary Clinton's surprise party, no surprise whatsoever, okay? We know that. We know that a former First Lady, God, that is probably the hardest. I mean, how do I put this that you may understand it and not get upset with me? I don't get choked up or I don't cringe the same way when I say former First Lady Michelle Obama. I know you guys just, oh my God, okay. I don't. But when I stop and cringe over former First Lady Hillary Clinton, whew, yes, that bothers me. Remember she was in Hawaii, wasn't she in there baking cookies? Remember? So former First Lady Hillary Clinton, former Senator from New York, former Secretary of State, has no such thing as a surprise party. Doesn't happen. Secret Service knows the guest list. Everybody knows the guest list, whatever. So while Hillary's having a surprise party to get her story straight, because we may have actually reversed some things and come back to some ethics in America and some of these criminals in that swamp up there we may drain, while we have the terrorist attack, while we have the Paul Manafort and we have Paul Manafort and Papadopoulos and John Podesta and the whole crime ring there, we don't stop to see that Jerome Powell is the new chair, going to be the new chairman of the Federal Reserve. Now, I have this book. There's a couple books. There's plenty out there. I have this book called Fed Up. The Insider's Take, okay, Danelia, hell with it, Booth, an insider's take on why the Federal Reserve is bad for America. Okay, that's this book. There's a book, 500 pages. I know you don't like that. You don't like the 500-page books. It's called The Creature from Jekyll Isle. It's about the creation of the Federal Reserve. Now, it goes all the way back to coining money in Greece. It goes all the way back to some of the mints. It goes all the way through when we were able to take precious metals and turn them into have value. What are the states? You have states now, okay? I forget the states if you Google it. So will you end up with some of your own mint? Can you press your own coin? Maybe possibly here in the near future. You have some states that now allow precious metals, if you Google it, to be used for currency, meaning you could take silver in of your own and trade it to somebody for actual value of currency. So for a product. Anyhow, Trump is expected to name Jerome Powell as the next Fed chairman. President Trump is expected to nominate Jerome H. Powell as the next Fed chairman of the Federal Reserve, replacing Janet Yellen, whose term expires next year, according to two people familiar. Powell, a Fed governor, okay, since 2012, all right, as a Republican with deep roots in party's establishment and in the financial industry. He has steadily supported Mrs. Yellen's approach to monetary policy and financial regulations, creating an expectation that he would be unlikely to attempt large or sharp changes in the Fed's course. So let's stop there. This is our boring segment of the week. How many of you in the now this is a Federal Reserve governor. The Federal Reserve has offices, Federal Reserve banks across the United States. Every one has a Federal Reserve governor. Okay, hey, Herman Cain was out there in Chicago. But how many of you in 2009, 2010, 2011, how many of you wish you did not know this word? Okay? How many of you wish you did not understand what this meant? And you know how I am as far as the difficulty I have with pronouncing things. I do. I have difficulty pronouncing things. I just do. You know that. Too many E's, too many I's, too many A's, O's, U's. You got it. I have a problem with it. You know, the one thing it seems like I don't have a problem pronouncing is Italian names. Why? I mean, it seems like if there's a vowel on the end, I do pretty well with that. Anyhow, let's go with this. Quantitative easing. How many of you wish you did not know anything about quantitative easing? How many of you wish you did not know what QE1, QE2, QE3? The Federal Reserve folks want paid back. They want their money back with interest. That's right. They are printing your currency. They are putting your currency out. But it's not yours. You're backing it. And they're printing it. So there's things like learning the discount window for banks to put cash infusions into this economy. Now, I'm not a gloom and doom person, but I'm going to tell you this. You should pay attention to the Federal Reserve, the stock market, and they want paid back. So if you think from 2009 to 2017 that they have pumped all of this cash, worthless cash, out into the market, if you think they have pumped all of this worthless money so they can produce cars, an enormous amount of cars, to make it look like the manufacturing segment of automobiles was back and thriving in this country. If you think for 1 minute that GM paid you back, if you think for 1 minute we've paid back the $800 billion that King Henry Paulson, you know, the Treasury Secretary King Paulson, put into the economy, if you think we've paid back $1, you better pay attention. See, Donald Trump made us some promises, and you know this is the Donald Trump supporter comfort zone. But Trump made us some promises. We'll see if he keeps them. I'm going to talk a little more about the Federal Reserve as soon as I return, because this one here, as boring as I am today, and I'm pretty boring, you could check everything. You could see a Stephen Spacey, whatever his name is. You could see if he maybe is not gay anymore if you want. I don't care. You can see if House of Cards is not going to be on next season. You can cry over that at the next wine and cheese party. You can talk about anything under the sun. All right? You can talk about Jeff Flake is not running again. You can talk about anything you want. You can talk about Steve Bannon has an 8% approval rating. But you're going to talk about the Federal Reserve, whether you like it or not, in the future, because they want paid back. Something has to happen. You see, I'm going to come back. Connecticut. Why, BKP, you are boring. But, you know, you just don't understand the things that I think are worthy of reading. Connecticut, the state of Connecticut, just passed their operating budget for the year. Just passed it. They could not come to an agreement. Connecticut, New Jersey, Illinois, they can't pay the bills. They're stacked up. Teachers unions in Kentucky, they're trying to make changes because we cannot pay these retirement costs. Can't do it. It's a Ponzi scheme. There's not enough to support what's going out. I want to stay with the Federal Reserve. We're going to talk more about that when we get back. Sam. Now, folks, the only reason, if you're new to this show, I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. And really what I want to do is, if you're new to the show, if you're a regular viewer, you realize that I do not do very many Federal Reserve, Treasury. Now, I have read the 500-page book that I'm recommending to you. And there's several. Creature from Jekyll Island. I've read that book. It was tough to get through. Not a bad book, but it is something. I know when I say everybody should read it, that should be a mandatory reading in school. Also, this has Alan West. There's so many people that have endorsed this book. Fed Up, an insider's take on why the Federal Reserve is bad for America. So I don't do this very often, but tomorrow the richest, Jerome Powell, will be the richest governor, Federal Reserve governor, ever appointed to be the chair of the Federal Reserve. Now, I told you I can only summarize, but the Federal Reserve was created, Woodrow Wilson. Now, when I say great, I'm being very facetious there. That's one of the words I actually understand. Every once in a while, somebody says that. But here's what I really want to do. I'm looking for people, and I think I want to do this ASAP. I would like to create a show in here, a series right here in the studio, where we talk. I would like to recreate Ethics in America. Okay, in our own form, the show I told you about earlier, Ethics in America, I'd like to recreate that. We have a lot, there's a reason I went certain places today. We have a lot of people that have retired to the North Georgia mountains that you guys have outstanding careers that you have been a part of, either CIA, I'm just going to say it, CIA, FBI, IRS, attorneys with big firms, law firms, worked in different administrations, whatever. I want to do something. I know I come in, I horse around on this show, but I want to do some very serious shows. I would just like to ask you to watch my panel show that Samantha and Rose produced. Sam and Rose produced a panel show for me that we had 4 county chairmen at one time, and we really had a great panel show. I want to do more of those. So that's kind of what I'm opening up this morning. So I want to do a Ethics in America. I also want to do a Federal Reserve Treasury. I want to break down monetary policy. So it's going to bore some, but for some of you out there, former bankers, or you really studied the Federal Reserve, you studied the debt, you've studied the fact that there's no money in the in your Social Security fund, but IOUs. You've studied all of that. You've studied the pension plans in the state. If you were the head of a pension plan in a state, so it doesn't matter. I want to start getting that out. And Rosa, you understand? I know you're yawning because you went to one of those spooktacular parties yesterday. But are you understanding? Are you actually paying attention? Yeah, okay. Don't. Oh my God, that was the week. I mean, I wish I could do my impression of her. Yeah, I'm paying attention. Yeah, I got it. Was that pretty good, Rose? Yeah, that actually was pretty good. It made you smile. So anyhow, so we're trying to get, You don't know what it's like trying to get these two to pay attention today. One was out partying all night long as Cleopatra or some Greek goddess, and the other one was, what painting were you again? It was Bob Ross. You were the painting. Anyhow, so, folks, when they created the Federal Reserve, and I'm going to go somewhere with this, okay, not to bore you, they did not want the American people to have the impression that one consolidated place held all their money. Because at this time, you will go through the 1800s right up to 1912. Was it 1912? I don't want to get that wrong, okay? But you'll go up to, or whenever it was, 1920 something. But you go up to the day that Woodrow Wilson signed the Federal Reserve into law. And it wasn't 1912, was it? It was after Herbert Hoover. But anyhow, get the dates. If you go up to that point, you'll see all the different failures of our monetary system. When I call them failures, you'll see all the different currencies that were out there, all the things that were accepted as currency through the United States of America up to that point. You had banks printing their own currency, and then you had to have corresponding banks that agreed to accept the currency. It's a big thing, all right? I enjoy studying it. So, when they created the Federal Reserve, the smoke and mirrors that we have in this country that you think is federal. They knew, one, if they named it federal, we would fall for it's part of the federal government. It is not, folks. It is not part of the federal government. That's number one. Number two, if they put it in one area, the Federal Reserve, you would get upset because at this time we have banks out west, they're failing. I mean, we had all these banks, they would just fail, okay? They run out of currency, they would, whatever, long story. So they felt, hey, if we put them all in one area, we're going to have the American people are going to think, whoa, that's not good. So you have Federal Reserve banks in Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Cleveland, Richmond, Atlanta, right? There's a Federal Reserve Bank in Atlanta, Chicago, St. Louis, Minneapolis, Kansas City. That was out there for the West, for the cattle and the trade and everything. Kansas City, Dallas, San Francisco. And the board is assembled in Washington, D.C. You have governors that are on the board. Now, if you go to the Federal Reserve, this is what they'll tell you their mission is, and you have to be careful with this. Number one, you have one U.S. central bank, the Federal Reserve System, okay? But it does not belong to the United States of America. It does not belong to you, all right? Key entities. Here's the key entities of your Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve Board of Governors. You have a Board of Governors. Federal Reserve, 12 Federal Reserve banks. We just went over that. Federal Open Market Committee. That's what is the three key entities. Federal Open Market Committee. All right? Who's on the committee? Then here are the 5 key functions that they want you to believe that this is how the Federal Reserve works for you. Now, I want you to remember, I love words, and I know when people play on words. 5 key functions of the Federal Reserve. Conducting. Okay? Conducting. Stay with that word. The nation's monetary policy. They are not a part of the federal government. They conduct the nation's monetary policy. They are in charge of the nation's monetary policy. Period. They are in charge of it. All right? I can't break down bonds and everything that's sold. I can't break down QE1. I will do that in just a minute. Helping maintain the stability of the financial system. Shoveling free money into the financial system when they need to prop up a phony economy. Now, I'm not a gloom and doom, and you know I'm a Trump supporter. You know that, okay? But we've not had a real economic engine in this country. The last time we came close, and there's going to be a lot of argument, is when Ronald Reagan was president. Okay? That's the last time we had what I feel is somewhat of a true economic engine. All right? We lowered taxes. We spurred investment. People were building houses. People were buying washing machines. We were truly doing the entire cycle. Okay? You have to remember, in 1984, okay, we're in a recession. Jimmy Carter leaves us with a recession. All right? Ronald Reagan takes over. We get about 1984. All right? We did not spur the economy with zero down. You understand? We did not spur the economy. One of the greatest booms. Let's not go back to the industrial age and the revolution there, where train tracks across America. Let's not go back there. In my lifetime, we were building houses. They were not zero down. We were buying cars. They were not zero down. In 1984, there was no such thing as buying a car and hearing zero down for 60 months. No such thing. There was no such thing in 1984 of just shoveling you every credit card you wanted. No such thing. We had credit card. We had credit card debt. We had cars. We had debt to banks on cars. Okay? This is back in the old days where banks actually held car notes. All right? And then we had homes, where I think the minimal you had to bring in 10% to buy your house. All right? And you even had to show in the bank you had that money to buy that house, and it could not be a gift. That's exactly right. I know we're going down some areas, but back in 1984, you want a $100,000 home, you better have 10 grand to come to the table, and you better not show in that bank account that it was deposited a week before you went to buy the home, and you better not show, you had to report a gift. So if mom and dad said, here, I'm going to help you buy your first home, you had to report that gift, so that way the mortgage company back in the old days actually knew if you had the money to purchase a house or not. Because back in the old days, the mortgage company would pile those together and sell those as A-class mortgages anyhow. So I know I'm going in a lot of areas, but you have to understand the Federal Reserve helping maintain the stability of the financial system, supervising and regulating financial institutions, fostering payment and settlement system safety and efficiency. Fostering payment and settlement system safety and efficiency. You should pay attention to all these. Last but not least, promoting consumer protection and community development. Folks, why am I talking about the Federal Reserve? Why? Why am I boring you with this whole entire story? Why? I'll tell you why. Because Donald Trump promised to audit the Fed. And if you leave here today thinking you owe $20 trillion, you're badly mistaken. And if you think all of a sudden the other day $200 billion showed up on the debt just all of a sudden overnight, you better look and you better read that article. See, there's no end in sight. And let me tell you something. I'm going to look in the camera and tell you. Quit accepting the lie. You understand? Quit accepting the lie. Quit accepting the lie in the state you live in. Quit accepting when a state says that their state constitution requires them to balance their budget every year. Don't accept that. Because you know why? It does require, but they keep raising and raising and raising the amount of money you're paying. Let me tell you something you're not going to like, damn it. Every time a state, and especially in the state of Georgia, okay, every time they look at you and tell you we balance the budget every year, guess what they do not have to put over on the M&O, maintenance and operation? Guess what they don't have to put over on the line items to operate the state on a daily basis? They do not have to push the bond debt, the outstanding bond debt that the state where you live is in does not have to go to this column. All they have to do is put the bond debt payment. Now, whether you understood that or not, I don't know, but I'm going to put it real simple, okay? You out there, if you look at the governor's budget in your state every year, you understand? I'm making a lot of people upset with this, but this is just stuff. When I see this, and nobody, it seems like nobody cares, and I'm serious, nobody cares. So let me look at you and tell you. Let's say it like this. You borrow $1 million. Now, we're talking hundreds of billions of dollars these states are borrowing. Hundreds of billions of dollars. Look in your state today. But let's use $1 million. And let's just say every month you got to send a little bond payment over to the people that said you could have the money to build that great big new stadium or those great big new buildings or those big schools or the school of dental. You know, damn it, some of these colleges got like the school of orthodontics / veterinarian / law school all under one roof. These massive buildings. Like, oh my God, what the hell are these buildings? So anyhow, we get back to this. So you borrow $1 million and your payment every month, let's just say it's $100,000 a month. That's all you have to report on this side of your state budget. You don't have to show, now you could find it if you know where to look, but you don't have to show the $900,000. And then you have politicians go out and brag all the time, well, we balanced the budget, we balanced the budget. Folks, if you go to your state, and the reason I'm using state is because we have a lot of viewers across the United States. I mean, there's 2 here, 2 there, and 2 everywhere, okay? We have a lot of viewers. Go to your state and look at the real debt you're in. Go to your state and look at the pension plans you cannot pay. Go to your state. Connecticut just finished. Illinois is looking at like a 34, oi, no S. I know, I quit. I practice. I used to say Illinois, okay? But for you out there, it went to Illinois. Illinois, what? They're looking at now, what, a 30-some cent gas tax or something? Yeah. Just so they can't pay the bills. And they're not going to. So why this morning, when everybody is talking about everything else under the sun, I picked Federal Reserve, it just smokes me that nobody cares. Nobody. You're not 20 trillion in debt, America. You are 20. You just get 200 trillion. I'm serious. Unfunded liabilities we can't pay. I'm just telling you right now, Donald Trump, you promised to audit the Fed. Donald Trump, you went after Yellen as the Fed chair. Now, President of the United States, you owe it to the American people because that's who's paying the bills. Now, stop with passing. Here's the one I like. How you like this one? Well, we got to pass the budget. So the budget, and then what we do is we can fit the tax reform into the budget. But the way that the Senate is made up, if you don't pass this and don't pass this, you can't pass that. You know, start speaking to us in terms we understand. Here's what it's called. Damn it, if you got $1, you can only spend a damn dollar. That's it. I know, what was that, too simple? Quit telling us the Senate rules. Well, if we don't uncap the level and the rate we can increase debt and spending and borrowing, and if we don't do this, we can't push this, and we can't get 3.9% growth, which we could actually do this. I'm going to end this segment because I'm going to take a break, and I got one more thing. I don't want to end the segment because I'm going to go look something up, and I want to tell the folks what it is. Folks, you should do everything you can to stop it now. All right? Because you have a president of the United States that I feel can do the job. You have a president of the United States that they're trying to bring down. They're trying to stop. They want everything in the world to impeach this guy. They want everything in the world maybe to have this guy have a heart attack or something. I mean, I'm going to tell you, this is a comment I should not make. But if you woke up tomorrow and you're president of the United States that had to hear this BS, I'm not going to go that distance, okay? We have to hear this BS 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with somebody running their mouth. You know, when we got the criminals out the wazoo, right? You got criminals coming out the wazoo with the Clintons and the Obamas and all that. And this guy's, and they hear, you know, the guy had a heart attack. I mean, I swear to God, I'd like to see the newsrooms that morning, right? Okay, where was I going? Anyhow, the reason I want to talk about this is you have to, President of the United States, you promised you would audit the Fed, and this just does not look like, Jerome doesn't look like the guy that's going to audit the Fed, and we'd like to know what you plan to do about that. Now, I know what's going to happen out there. You're going to have people say you're going to completely collapse this economy the very minute that somebody says they're going to audit the Fed. You are going to collapse completely this economy. You know what? If we do something to cause this economy to collapse versus it will collapse, where are we at? Because folks, you don't keep going. You don't keep going. See, there's one thing. You get a CPA, you know? You get the person that can actually sign your financial statement. You get the person, okay? You get the person that knows how to, or has the certifications or qualifications to do what's called a certified audit. There's such thing as a certified audit, okay? And you get this person, and they come in, and you make a decision that you're going to close your business in 2008. Okay? You make the decision. You get this person to come in and go through your books. And the person looks at you and says, you're broken, you just don't know it. You see, the one thing about this show in the last 2 years is you get to know me. I lived through 2008. I know what the economic collapse is about. I know what a big major financial institution is about to send you a letter saying you no longer have a credit line. I know what it's like to lose completely all of your operating capital within 30 days. I know what it's like. I lived in it. Okay. Hey, all right. So you're making a decision. Do I close and get out of here? And you have somebody look at you and say, you're broke and you just don't know it. America, you're broke and you just don't know it. Take us to break, Sam.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on-site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
When I think about our day and the time we've spent together and going to sit down at a couple of your business, everything you do surrounds this city. Live, eat, sleep, work, it surrounds the city of Blue Ridge.
It does. I actually always say this is a live, work, play lifestyle in downtown Blue Ridge.
What are some of the things, if you're sitting out here, you think about as issues if elected city council member?
Well, first of all, if I could tell you all the things I thought about on this porch, I would go on for days. This is a great thinking porch, but you know, I think to put things into perspective, this is the surface view that everybody sees of Blue Ridge, and you know, our residents, the people who come and visit Blue Ridge. But the thing that you know has me most concerned, and that we really need to focus on, are the things that are not surface view, the things that are underground. We've got a lot of issues with our sewer system right now. We have the new water plant in the city of Blue Ridge, which is great. Payments are going to have to start on it soon, but we really need to update and repair our infrastructure. We've got a lot of flooding going on in downtown Blue Ridge, which I know a lot of people are concerned about. So, you know, Blue Ridge today is beautiful as people walk by, but there's a lot of things in the city as far as the infrastructure, planning, zoning, issues like that, that if we're going to keep Blue Ridge the wonderful place that it is, that we've really got to focus on over the next few years.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia: LJ, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
Folks, we're back. I'm going to end this, and I'll tell you why I went, because I was reading articles this morning, and I was going through the terrorist attack in New York, and I'm going through Paul Manafort, and I'm going through all of these, and then the one buried in the stack there that you can look up yourself, and I wish you would, get this Jerome, what did I say his last name is? Jerome, where's he at? What's his name? There it is. Jerome Powell. That is going to be taking Yellen's place. So here's the only thing. Don't forget, folks, okay? Moving right along, you know, when you take out the loan, sooner or later the bill has to be paid or something collapses. Quantitative easing is an unconventional monetary policy in which a central bank purchases government securities. Federal Reserve is not the government. Government securities or other securities from the market in order to lower interest rates and increase money supply. Government securities, that's you, America. You are the government securities. You are the only damn collateral the U.S. government has, is you. You are the collateral. They have to take it from you. That's what a government security is. You're walking around, you're the government security, you're the promissory note. Quantitative easing. It's an unconventional. Now, very quickly, have a minute. Quantitative easing timeline. In the wake of the global financial crisis, the Federal Reserve used several rounds of QE, quantitative easing, to get the economy back on track. Shovel the money out. QE1 in November of 2008, the Fed proposed to buy $100 billion of agency debt and $500 billion of mortgage-backed securities. See, we can't get anybody to back those. 2009, all right, where the Fed used another $850 billion to purchase mortgage-backed securities and debt. See, in 2008, they didn't tell you, but they already spent $500 billion. They already spent billions before they told you Hank Paulson was going to get $800 billion, all right? So in 2009, they used another $850 billion to purchase mortgage-backed securities. The Fed also channeled another $300 billion into longer-dated treasuries. In November 2010, they announced another yet bond-buying program. This involved buying $600 billion. QE2, September 11th, $400 billion. QE3, 36-month range. QE4, $400 billion. It did not stop. All right. In October, listen to this date so we can close. In October 2014, the Fed indicated an end to QE3 program. That's it. You're in 2017, folks. You got to pay it back. I'm your host, BKP. Now, we had some viewers send in. We're running just a minute late. Send in some pictures. Who I can't see them from here. Do they want to use their names, or you just want to get...
Scarecrow.
Oh, it's a little scarecrow. That came from you, the viewers. Who else we have? Oh, that is beautiful. Where's that at? Is that Ella J or Blue Ridge? Or Blue Ridge. That's in Blue Ridge. Okay, and what's the other one you have? Oh, that's a group shot. Now, where is that? That's in Blue Ridge. So those are viewers. Send us some pictures from Blue Ridge. Thank you very much. I know everybody enjoyed Halloween and trick-or-treat in the safe zones of Blue Ridge, LJ, Jasper, Hiawassee, all of those nice safe zones for the kids. We've had a great time. We'll be back tomorrow morning. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. North Georgia's only live online morning show, 706-889-9700. Contact me today. Later.